What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Join alongside Tim in Green Bay. We got Emilio in Tennessee here to talk some Packers this evening. As looks like our boy McManus made it into the facility today. Brandon McManus, the new kicker, out there on the practice field. We'll talk about that a little bit. We got some really cool stats to lay out for you guys as the Packers have done something somewhat historic in the running game. We'll hit on it. We'll also bring you some really cool PFF notes and where some of the players rank, some of the younger players on the roster, which is really exciting, and just give you some injury updates, all that good stuff. But first things first, let's give a shout-out to the good folks over at Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. Wisconsin-based since 1992, specializing in Packers tickets. They're Wisconsin's largest ticket source, most trusted ticket source. Offices next to Lambeau and in Milwaukee. You can click on the link in the video description. It'll send you to theticketking.com where you can register for free as a customer and go ahead and start shopping for your Packers tickets. Again, that's Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. So the one thing I wanted to hit on, well, before we get started, let's do this, guys. I want to get in the habit of this and go around the horn before we get diving into kind of the show, because you guys might have something at the forefront of your mind that you'll never even get to mention, because I will ramble and ramble and ramble and we won't even hit on it. So is there anything you guys want to hit on right off the top here of the show? Anything at all? Emilio?
Nothing. I just saw this. I thought it was a great way to start. Fred McFarley says this is going to suck. So,
yes,
I mean,
it is.
We're off.
Proper expectations, man. Proper expectations. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing but positivity. This is how we roll here. I love it.
Tim, you got anything, bub? Anything you want to hit on right out of the gate or not?
Yeah, man. Throwing them dubs up. Winter warning uniform week, you know? Boys had the fresh icy white helmets on at practice today, getting used to the new look, you know? It's going down.
That
Winter warning white translates to a dub on Sunday against the Texans. Go Pack.
Would you say, Emilio, white cheddar?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
White cheddar. I love it.
Remember when you were in school, the vending machines had the white cheddar popcorn? Bro. And
I remembered. I got a bag of that probably in the cupboard. Smart food? Are you kidding me?
All I could think of is at 13 years old is, man, I'd like to have a cold beer with this in school. You know what I mean? Everybody was raised different. I'll just leave it at that, all right? So I thought this was cool. Check this out. The Green Bay Packers tweeted out, "Run Green Bay Packers. 1,003 team rushing yards. That's the most in the franchise history in the first 6 games by the Packers since 1963.
Let's go.
Check that out. So I immediately went, I wonder what was going on in 1963. Let's take a look, shall we?
I was just going to say, that sounds like Jimmy Taylor and the boys.
Yeah. And here's what's cool. In 1963, you notice you don't see Paul Hornung. That's the year he got suspended for gambling. So Jim Taylor said, y'all just get on my back. I got this. He had 248 attempts for 1,018 yards, 9 touchdowns, averaged 4.1 yards per carry. Tom Moore played in 12 games. He had 132 carries for 658 yards. He actually averaged 5.0 yards per carry. And then Elijah Pitts, 212 yards, averaging 3.9 a pop. Earl Gross, I think I'm saying that right, 48 attempts, 203 yards, 2 tutters, and an average of 4.2 yards. And look at Bart Starr.
Here's the guy.
Bart Starr was Mike Vick before y'all even knew who Mike Vick was. All right. 13 carries for 116 yards. Bart Starr averaged 8.9 yards per pop.
Let's go.
And then John Roach, whoever that was, sound like a drug dealer, 3 attempts for 31 yards, 10.3 a pop. Pretty cool to kind of look back and see, all right, you know, one of the greatest, arguably the best start to a season as far as rushing goes. This was what the team finished with. So they ended up finishing with 2,248 yards. Now, keep in mind, they only played 14 games back then. Obviously, we're playing a lot more than that right now. I just thought it was cool to kind of walk down memory lane there. What do you guys think about that, though? Pretty neat that the Packers are getting, acknowledgement for this.
Oh, yeah. I love what you said, too. Like, you know, when you look back to the fact that they only played 14 games, and then you look at some of the numbers, when you look at these stat lines, and you see what, you know, these players were able to do with a lot less reps than the guys are getting now. And, you go down some of these franchise records and go back, a lot of them are broken, obviously, over time. Some still stand. But to me, it's just more impressive when you think of the way the game was played, in those different eras, well before our times, on this pod. And I just think it's really cool. It's impressive to see. I didn't know Bart Starr was such a scrambler. Now we know.
And that was when did Lombardi get to Green Bay? Was it 1959? Am I thinking right, fellas?
Yeah, I wanted to say 59 when you were talking.
It's just so cool to look back in time like that. I think that stuff's absolutely awesome. Some people
and their average, they were all over 4 yards a carry. I mean, that 3.39.
Elijah Pitts, yeah.
I mean, that is not terrible out of a wishbone. I mean, football is cyclical, right? We talk about it all the time. It's coming full circle where the running game is going to be important again, where it's going to be something that you don't need to lean on 80 times a game, but that needs to be efficient when you do lean on it. I'm happy that where we're at right now, Matt. And what does it take? A good offensive coach, a good coach in general can scheme. Anybody can draw up a pass play. A good offensive coordinator or coach can scheme up runs. And Matt's doing that.
Definitely. And the other thing to take into consideration with this back then, what makes this feat so impressive is defenses were playing the run, right? I mean, that was back when they ran the pro set.
Yep.
Is what Lombardi ran, the split backfield under center. So a lot more difficult to run a football back then, and for them to still kind of accomplish that's really.
And they couldn't even block either. I mean, they weren't even allowed to grab anybody. They weren't. It was just cut and find a lane.
Yeah, and again, the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I know the running game's been effective, but when I seen that, I'm like, whoa, we haven't got off to this strong of a start since 1963. Like that kind of caught me off guard a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's a bit of a surprise, right? Because I mean, we've seen the impact it's had on our offense this year. I mean, we can't understate that enough. And even whether we need to lean on the run, per week basis kind of thing, depending on the matchups or not, it's just nice to know we have it. And it's not just Josh Jacobs. We've got multiple weapons that can run the football for us, and it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And then Rob Demoski on the practice field today tweeted out this short video here of Brandon McManus, his first practice.
Here's the guy.
You can see him kind of going through the motions here a little bit. Then you'll see him kick one too. Not a very big stride. Looked like it was just kind of short leg bang. And listen, this guy is a Super Bowl winner. He hit 3 field goals in the Super Bowl that they won in Denver when Peyton Manning was there. So in his prime, and I think it was Brian Bulaga maybe that talked about it, that back when McManus was with Denver, it was like they expected to make every kick. Now, is he the same kicker? Time will tell, right? You would think him being now, I think 33, maybe 30, almost 34 years old. Obviously, you're going to lose a little bit of that power. You're no longer kicking in Denver, which I know he was in Jacksonville more recently. But Denver, you got that high altitude. You can hit some of those big bombs. But the way Bulaga talked about it on Wildy and Tausch today was like, yeah, you felt like if he was under 60 yards, it was like, yeah, McManus is going to hit this. So I'm excited, man. I think it's an upgrade when you really take everything into consideration. You do have a veteran kicker now, somebody who's got Super Bowl experience. Listen, if you can go 3 for 3 in the Super Bowl, you can handle pressure situations pretty darn good, right? I think we would all agree. So that's a positive. He was 100% on the extra points last year. To me, that was the big knock against Anders last year was, well, he can't hit the extra points. He can't hit the extra points, right? And then this year, Braden Narvison, 100% on extra points, but he was missing those field goals between 40 and 49. So I think it is kind of a decent blend together there. A guy who's got enough leg strength to get the job done as well. So I don't know. I'm excited to see how this may unfold. I don't think he's going to be like hands down way better than Anders Carlson. The numbers would suggest they're pretty much the same in a lot of categories in that regard. But I do think you're going to get that veteran presence. And I am going to breathe a little sigh of relief now when we're kicking those 40 to 49 yarders. I don't know. Do you guys agree with that or no?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel that way. I like this first slide here that we're kind of seeing on loop. If you can, at least this is what I'm picking up on, Clay. Maybe you could pause it at the beginning here. And maybe I'm wrong right here. So what this looks like to me is you got Coach Bisaccia there on the left. And it looks like a veteran kicker coming in and showing Daniel Whelan exactly where he wants that ball when he's approaching on a kick. And then you've got Orzic there kind of looking. Maybe they're talking about, again, special teams kicking. This is a unit. This is not just, we talk about the new kicker. So here's the new guy working with, the rest of the unit. Looks like they're installing, personal preference kind of thing. You know how kickers are, right? A lot of kickers are very ritualistic. They have a certain way they go about things, and him being the new kid on the block here in Green Bay, it's nice to see him being assertive, stepping up and saying, "Hey, this is how I like to do it. This is where I want it. This is how it's going to roll." And like you said, he's a Super Bowl champion. He's a veteran, and I'm glad he's here. You're right. We can breathe a sigh of relief on some of these quote unquote routine type field goals. We shouldn't be nervous about a 44-yard field goal attempt. We really shouldn't.
Right.
So, and I don't think we have to be anymore. So I don't know. It's just cool to see those guys getting in work today.
I think that's a great point. I didn't even catch that first time, Tim. Like you said, you get the ball vertical, 12-6. Maybe he wants it at 11:55. Maybe he just a little bit of the tilt outside or something.
Yep.
That's key. And yeah, ritual. Was he going to do a little shoulder shrug, whatever? But yeah, I'm excited not to say "come on, Narv" every time, and maybe just turn it off for a second, give the dude a chance. I know everyone's going to tweak if something happens, but
for sure,
it's and honestly, it gets me excited for Hale. If Hale is going to make some progress, he's going to have all these. He's seen how many kickers come through here. Give me a little bit of here, a little bit here. He's just putting together a recipe for something good if it comes together for him. So I like that too.
I agree. And maybe that says something about how the Packers feel about Hale on that practice squad and his development. Like, hey, we brought a veteran in for now, fix this issue, address this issue we've got immediately.
Right.
We don't know how long McManus is going to kick for the Packers, right?
But while he's here, teach the young kid some things, right? And then, get on your way. Make some kicks for us, teach him some things and good.
Yep. This, like Clayton said, he's getting a little bit up there in age. Granted, kickers, they can have an extended life in the NFL if they stay healthy. Obviously, there's guys that have kicked well into their 40s. There is a precedence for it. But if this is going to be his last few years, maybe he finishes his career here in Green Bay. Who knows? Maybe he kicks this season and we never see him again. I don't know. But I am glad he's here, right?
Definitely. I know there's been a lot of people asking about Jacob, so I'm just going to go ahead and address this. Me and Jacob got into a fist fight. So Jacob has been working like a dog. Get some stuff squared away, so he'll be back soon.
Calling the cops.
Yeah, there you go. I'll call the cops. Some of you guys know what that means. We'll keep that between us. But no, he'll be back soon enough. Like I said, he's just working a lot right now and taking care of some stuff. So I chatted with him this morning. Obviously, he's 100% welcome on the show. It's just you got to get some stuff squared away. So when he does, he'll be right back and he'll be in here, talking trash to us. Like That's right. The human meat missile will return. All right, we'll just leave it at that. So here was Rob Demoski's tweet. He said, Packers GM Brian Gutekunst said not only did they rely on the NFL's investigation and also their own research into the accusations against Brandon McManus, but he needed to hear it from the kicker himself before they signed him last night. Listen, there's a lot of talk going on the interwebs today, a lot of high horsing going on of why they shouldn't sign him. I'm not going to get into giving my personal opinion on something I don't have all the information on. The only info I do know is he was not charged with anything criminally. There is a lawsuit pending. However, I believe his lawyer came out and said that's pretty much all but taken care of now. So I'm not going to sit here and entertain it. It gives people an opportunity to go, I'm better than you. Look, I'm morally, I hate that crap. I hate it. And you've seen it all over Twitter. So we're not even going to address that side. We'll let Goody kind of do the talking here and see what he thought as far as when they decided to sign McMahon. It's only a 25-second clip, but here's what Goody had to say with the reporters. Hopefully y'all can hear it. You can see I've got it cranked up. Here we go.
I had a really good conversation with Brandon, last night. Obviously, in his agent Trudeau's analysis, we kind of, last week when these things got cleared up within the league, and kind of he got past some other things. Those conversations kind of picked up, and I wanted to make sure that we did our due diligence. Again, we feel really good about that. Where we sit right now, and we're excited to get him out there.
What do you like about him as a kicker?
Yeah, obviously, very experienced kicker.
About
a really good conversation with Brandon.
All right, so
a very experienced kicker. He's the opposite of everyone we've had right here recently.
Yeah. And listen, I was the first one to say Goody screwed the pooch on this whole kicker thing. Should have been addressed back in February, right? So don't take this the wrong way. You guys know where I've stood on this is like you kept digging the hole deeper and deeper. Okay, let's get rid of Honors. Let's try this guy. Okay, let's get rid of him. Let's try somebody else. And Goody making this signing for me, and again, with McManus pretty much being cleared of everything, that's first and foremost the most important thing, okay? I'm a mama's boy. Anytime there's a crime that's involved with a potential crime, I should say, allegedly, with a female, there's no one who's going to get more defensive than this guy right here. I grew up in a house with 3 sisters. We were pretty poor when I was young. My mom was the strongest human being I've ever met in my life. She was just work ethic, family first. The thought of something happening to a female in my life is one of the only things that I will go to the clink for. I promise you. With that being said, everything's been cleared. Goody kind of spoke on it too here. The one thing I want to say about Goody, me being critical of the situation, it takes a lot to say, I got it wrong. Let's go fix it.
Yep.
No ego, right? Ego has no amigo. Right, Emilio? Ain't that the saying? You and your peeps. Yep, that's right. Okay. So, nah. But I think it's cool, man. I think it's cool that Goody kind of acknowledged it and said, all right, man, we got to fix this, right? So I'm excited about it, man. I really am. I'm going to breathe a little sigh of relief when we have these kicks now. Now, am I going to expect something unrealistic? Absolutely not. You know what I'm expecting? Ask me what I'm expecting, fellas.
What are you expecting?
80% field goal percentage. Guess
Nice.
what? That was Anders.
Nice.
Yep.
Just like when Anders was hitting 80%, I'm going, what do you guys expect?
Yep.
Well, the good kickers in the league are over 90. That's right. We don't have a good kicker.
All 3 of them.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. Justin Tucker isn't on the street right now. You can't go sign Justin. Which, by the way, Justin
He's missing kicks too.
Struggling like crazy this year, right? So
hey, it's like you said, Clayton. This whole thing kind of played out like you had mentioned a year ago. You know, we kind of take kicker for granted. You know, you kind of neglect that position, and you don't really realize how important it truly is until you got a kicker that's missing kicks left and right. And now all of a sudden it becomes a massive priority. And you're right. To Goody's credit, he finally said, enough is enough. Let's get us a veteran in here and at least, you know, put a Band-Aid on this problem for right now. You know, if we got to bring, you know, we've got some youth in the wings here. We talked about Hale on the practice squad. You know, if we have to snag somebody in the draft again, or if we have to sign another free agent, have another, you know, competition at camp next year, so be it. But at least for the rest of 2024 season here, we are locked in at kicker, it looks like. So I'm all for it.
My only question is who's doing kickoffs?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, McManus has got a big leg. You know, supposedly he is a power kicker. At least he was in his youth. Now, listen,
Right.
He's only 33 years old. I got it. But you've been in the league for 10 or 11 years. You start to lose some of that kick power. There's no doubt about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I would imagine it's going to be him. I wouldn't be surprised if Daniel Whalen can do it. You know, I always screw his name up. I think it's Whalen, right?
I'm going to go Whelan. Let's see if we can figure it out. What's the over-under on who's right?
Only way I can remember Whalen is Waylon Jennings. That's the only way, right? Like, all right, got it. Waylon Jennings. So, Greg Rice says, is Tim saying kickers are people too?
Yes.
I think he is.
Of course.
I think he is, bro. Let's see here. What else we got in the chat real quick. Want to hit these. Greg Rice, I'd pay to see that fight. Pay-per-view? Question mark. Talking about me and Jacob. Nah, I would never fight my brother. Love that. Yeah. Ron Samble, I'm glad I'm not judged for the rest of my life based on my worst day. You and me both.
True.
Man. If we could hop in a time machine and go back and see Clayton at 23 years old, you go, what is this idiot doing? I'll guarantee it multiple times. J. Cole in the chat said, YouTube is the only social media I have. I'm sick of those moral Power Rangers.
The mighty moral Power Rangers.
I like it. That's a Photoshop waiting to happen. Absolutely. All right. So here was Brandon McManus in the locker room earlier today. Ryan Wood tweeted this out. Go give him a follow at by Ryan Wood. Brandon McManus on if he needs to prove himself. He gave a glimpse of, quote, ups and downs. Brian Gutekunst's reference. Let's just go ahead and hear what Brandon McManus had to say here.
I think every single day you need to prove yourself. I spoke a little earlier about the kicker is such a black and white position. And, you know, when I joined this league, I joined the Broncos. Well, I was cut by the Colts, and the Giants traded me to Denver, and I played for, I think, 13 weeks. And then similar situation, the Broncos, you know, thought they had a Super Bowl champion team. They cut me for Connor Barth, and then they brought me back to kick off actually the rest of the season. And then, I worked hard, earned my starting job back, and then had, one of the best seasons in NFL history that year to help them win the Super Bowl. So you always have to prove yourself in the kicking position. And, for Brady, like I said, I've been in that position before with him, losing an opportunity, but then working my butt off to kind of get it back again, and was able to kind of succeed after that. So I think in the kicking position, you're always trying to obviously help the team put points on the board, but it's such a black and white position that you got to stay focused every single time and go out. Every single kick has the utmost importance.
All right, so there you go, Brandon McManus. I like his attitude. He's saying everything right, guys. I mean, he seems like a dude who's coming in, with the mindset of, look, you gotta win every day. You could lose your job this week, right, with a horrible performance. And Coach Lynn asked the same question. We just kind of covered it, Coach. We're not sure. I would imagine he is, but
off quick numbers dive, looks like he's had 7 tackles, 3 assists, and 1 miss. If my numbers are accurate there, that's not terrible. But this is spread out between 10 years.
Yeah. He can tackle.
He can tackle.
Ain't no problem. Huh? That ain't no problem.
Well,
Chris C says Clayton at 23 was probably where they got the idea for Trailer Park Boys. That's a pretty accurate assessment there, Chris. I can't lie to you, my friend. Boy, we should have had a reality show. I promise you that. Well, let's see. All right, next. Dontayvion Wicks returned to practice in a limited fashion earlier today. I'll just go ahead and roll this beautiful beam footage as we talk about it. So Bill Huber tweeted out, Dontayvion Wicks went out for the start of practice and is going through individual. No Kobe Wooden, no Devontae White, and no Elton Jenkins as of right now. So we'll hit the injury report here in a second. But Dontayvion Wicks looks like he's inching his way back to potentially playing this week. And as you guys may or may not know, he's wearing a shoulder brace there if you look real close. Obviously, with the shoulder injury, I think Matt LaFleur was quoted earlier today saying we dodged a bullet there. What's cool about this is we seen last year how dynamic Dontayvion Wicks can be. This year, drop issue, work through it, sophomore slump, whatever you want to call it. But the fact that your receiving room is so deep, to me, I'm not worried if he's available or not. What I don't want to see happen is them rush him back, and then we look up after this next game and he goes on IR. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm excited to see how he may or may not fit into the offense moving forward. And with what we uncovered on Chalk Talk with Romeo playing a little F in the offense, it's going to be really, really interesting to kind of see, because if you'll remember, they put Tay Wicks in Romeo's spot that game that he missed, right? He was playing a lot of that. Now, they rotated in and out, playing that kind of that X position. So they may feel a little more comfortable with Tay Wicks playing that position and then mix and match Rome in the F moving forward. I don't think it's no surprise to anyone, though, that Romeo came out and got more snaps than anyone last week. I think that was Matt LaFleur's way of saying, no, we're good. Everything's fine. And we're going to move forward with Rome being one of the top targets on the roster. But how do you guys feel about Tay Wicks coming back? Obviously, I think this will be huge.
I do. I'm with you, Clayton, with the sentiment of, like, if he's available or not, it shouldn't really affect us week to week, with the depth we have at the position. Obviously, I want to see Tay Wicks on the field, though. One of my favorites of that group. But we can't risk, screwing that shoulder up, in a more permanent fashion. Like you said, I agree 100%. You can actually see in this little drill here, I'm wondering if they were putting that as emphasis, getting him rolling to his left, getting the football in his left hand, kind of seeing how he's feeling. I'm assuming maybe later this week they actually get into some semi-contact type stuff to see how that shoulder is. And maybe he'll be a go, maybe he won't. But either way, you got to feel good about the depth we have. And like you said, man, Romeo Doubs, I agree too on that comment, man. I think that it was a conscious effort by LaFleur to get him involved and also show his versatility, that we can flex him into the slot. We don't have to just put him out wide all the time. We can send him on some of these similar, routes that, maybe Wicks was running, or, concepts Jaden Reed even runs for us. And it just shows how versatile a lot of our receivers are, really. I mean, I especially when you look at like Wicks, Bo Melton, and Jaden Reed, like those three right there, I feel like as long as we got one or two of them dudes in the lineup or available, I feel like we're pretty good. Those guys are very versatile wideouts.
I would agree with that. Greg
Yeah.
Ross in the chat says Wicks is thinking too much. Amelia, what do you think about that, man? I can kind of see that being the case too. It does look like he's trying to do too much when he's catching the football. As were last year, it's like there were no expectations on him. It's just kind of go out there and play your game. What do you think? You think Wicks is maybe pressing a little too much is what's led to the drops?
I think it could definitely be that. I'm kind of with Jay here. It's only a matter of time for Wicks, patience. I think that he could be pushing it a little bit just because he's trying to get back to that level that he ended at last year. But it doesn't need to be it doesn't need to be an on-off switch. You know what I mean? Like it could be him climbing steps to get to that point. It doesn't have to be because we have so much depth in our wide receiver room. We have that option to, all right, he's hot now, but here, just even in this clip, if he's either sitting in the backfield in pony package or if they're using him now in orbit, that could also be another thing. Like the more people that are interchangeable at a position, which Matt wants to have them anyway. Matt wants to have all the receivers know all the choices, all the routes. And if you can play multiple positions, it's just like the O-line. We're going to be so flexible coming down like the end of the stretch is going to be huge for us. So I'm not worried about Wicks right now. I think he's going to come to his. But yeah, he might be just stressing it a little bit. Just got to shake it loose and keep playing.
Yep. Yeah. I remember a year too with Davante Adams in Green Bay and how fans really felt about him in the wide receiver room. And you got to see the similarities here with Tay Wicks right now in year two. Looking through some drop issues, working through getting banged up, injuries, these kind of things. It's part of being a pro, right? We just got to give him time to fully develop. I agree.
Yeah, definitely. Drew D says, I believe in every wide receiver we have. There's not one that when they hit the field, I go, oh, man, I hope the ball don't go to him. Like, there's not one.
Yep, it's true.
They've all kind of proven, hey, they can handle it, right? So
His receiving is tough.
I'm glad somebody else acknowledges it too. All right, so let's dive into the injury report real quick. We won't bore you too much with it, but I think it's important to kind of see where we're at on Wednesday. Jair Alexander, Kenny Clark, both limited. I think they're good to go. Obviously, that's just going to be one of those things with the groin and the toe. They're going to just try to ease them back in this week, not try to push it too much. Jonathan Ford with the calf injury, full participation this week. We'll see if he gets elevated or not. Elton Jenkins did not participate with the knee, but you've seen that all year long. Seems like he typically takes Wednesdays off because of the knee. So I wouldn't read too much into that. I'm not too concerned. Tucker Kraft, Josh Myers, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, and Dontayvion Wicks all limited today. The only one I would be a little bit concerned with is Josh Myers, but everything I'm hearing, I think he's actually going to play this week.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't play, then obviously Elton Jenkins would probably go to center, Sean Ryan left guard, Jordan Morgan right guard. Would be the way I would kind of see that. Now, Kobe Wooden and Devontae Wyatt. Kobe Wooden's got the knee. Devontae Wyatt's got the ankle. Both of those did not participate today. So Jonathan Ford might get his shot this week. We'll see. Hopefully Wyatt's back. Like we said, it would be really odd if they didn't get Wyatt back this year or this week, seeing that they could have put him on the IR if he misses this week, right? You could have just freed up a roster spot. But also, you don't look at that and go, man, we really needed that roster spot. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like injuries have been so bad in other aspects, like we really got to free up that spot. So that might have played a role too. Like, hey, if he heals quicker than we think he will, we'll get him back after 3 weeks. If he has to go over 4, no big deal. But that is kind of the measuring stick we always use there. So what do you guys think about this injury report? Anything that concerns you here? I look at it. I'm not too concerned other than, like I said, Kobe Wooden. A little bit of depth there at defensive line. If he can't go and Wyatt can't go, that hurts you a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. My bad, Tim. I was going to say, I think you're right on with that because Colby has stepped up past couple games, getting more reps. And I think it's kind of thinned away from TJ Slayton a little bit. But maybe that's just because of who we were playing. Maybe now they're going to play CJ Stroud. We'll put in TJ. But we have so much depth on that D line. We haven't even rotated in Mosby or Cox. Like, it's not like we haven't needed to work the extra guys. So I'm not too worried about it. Let's let them get rest. It's a long season. That's why Matt's loading Jacobs there with his run attempts, not trying to work him. It's running back by committee and just keep doing that through the season. It's a week by week league.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I would think Jonathan Ford obviously is probably looking really good, right? If he's, designated to return and he's full participant, on a Wednesday practice means clearly he's progressed to where he needs to be with that calf. So, one D lineman goes down, another one comes back. We're going to play this game. It is kind of sad with Colby Wooden because I felt like, Colby was starting to kind of show us some things a little bit, starting to put some good tape together, just like Devontae Wyatt before he had the ankle issue. So, it's just tough. It's part of the game. And it'd be nice to get all these monsters back on that line and, do the old hockey line change like Emilio was talking about in the preseason. And just keep fresh big bodies out there on that D line. But, injuries are a part of this game. You just got to deal with it. But I'm with you, Clay. I'm not overly concerned about really any of these on our end.
Yeah, and when you look at it, we had 3 that did not participate, right? And again, that was Elton Jenkins, who's going to be playing, Colby Wooden, and Devontae Wyatt. When you look at the Texans side, they had 6 players that did not participate today, and then 3 that were limited. So you got their linebacker Al-Jair. I think if I remember correctly, he was on the top one of the linebackers at the top of our list in free agency when we were kind of breaking down free agency. Mm-hmm. So pretty solid player there. He's got a knee injury. Fatikoski, I think is how you say that, the defensive tackle with the shoulder injury. He's out, or did not participate today. Kamari Lassiter, cornerback. You guys remember that name from the draft. Yep. Shoulder injury, did not participate. And then you got Henry. How do you say that name, guys? I have never tried to even pronounce that name. I'm pretty sure he played at Bama. He's a linebacker. Henry.
2-0.
2-0. Concussion, did not participate. You guys know how that goes. If he's in concussion protocol, a little later in the week, we'll see if he actually practices by, I think it's Friday. If he does.
Or is it Henry 2-0? I don't know.
Go to the who? That's exactly right, Snoop. I have no clue. Laramie Tunzel limited with the ankle. Jimmy Ward, safety with the groin, did not participate. And then Robert Woods, wide receiver with the foot, did not participate.
Pretty big names there.
Yeah, a lot of D players there.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll keep an eye on that as we move forward throughout the week. I think it's important. Keep your finger on the pulse there to see exactly how healthy they may or may not be going into Sunday. It's going to be a good game, good measuring stick game, guys. All we heard, it's amazing. Last week leading up to the game, all I heard all week long was they beat the Niners. It's going to be a tough one. Then you go boat race and they go, yeah, but the Cardinals suck. I'm like, all right, cool. Here we are. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on the injuries there. So quick update on our PTA Fantasy League. Just want to hammer this out. Thank you, Carly, for sending this over. We want to give you guys an update every Wednesday. Hunka Burning Love still leading the standings. He is undefeated. 6-0. He has now scored 1,105 points on the year. Second is CJN, airing it out, 5-1, scoring 1,082 points. In third place, you got the Numbschools, 5-1, 1,038 points. United Bates in fourth place. Bates creeping up here, man. 4-2. He scored 1,052 points. Trevor from Virginia, who got mad at me because I dogged him a little bit last week. All I said was, man, you're still up there in the standings and you're not scoring as many points as some of the top teams. That's all I said. But he's 4-2, sitting in a good spot. The Immunizers with our boy Ron Swanson as a profile pick. You got to love that. 4-2. They've only scored 941 points. Pack Daddy 3-3. You've got Dave C.
How about that?
Not that Pack Daddy, I don't think. But Dave C. 3-3. He's in the 8th spot. Dane Stromstad is in the 9th spot at 3-3. Chris Enns, he's sitting at 2-4 in the 10th spot. In the 11th spot, you got Pack and Cheese at 1-5. Jake G 126 in the 12th spot at 1-5. Mike's Marvelous Team, I think is what that is, 1-5 in the 13th spot. And Carly,
let me put that ticker back up, cover that up for her.
I will say is Carly's in 14th, and she's about to. Hey, it's going to be a hell of a comeback story. That's all I got to say. All right,
that's right.
I'm excited. How many points has she scored? I do need to see that. Drop that down. I just want to see if it's been one just kind of a bad. Yeah, it's kind of a bad luck thing there, right? Like 897 points. You know, Mike's, well, she's second to last. But yeah, put that ticker back up. Or sorry, Carly. Thank you so much, Carly, for sending that over. We really appreciate it. I know she's out doing way more important things tonight at work. So we appreciate her taking the time to throw that together. So since we're mentioning the Patreon group, let's go ahead and hit the Patreon chat real quick. And had a couple questions here. First of all, I want to give a shout out to our newest member, Damon Red Wine. Appreciate you joining the group there, buddy. And we'll make sure that your name is entered in along with the YouTube members here on our YouTube channel for when we do giveaways, stuff like that. Appreciate you supporting the show. But here is questions for the show section. We already addressed the one from Chris Nichols asking about Jacob the Beard. Carly says, kicker talk. Maybe we should look at the common denominator. Bisaccia is the common thread in these kicker woes. Shrugging emoji. It's really strange, Carly, because he's the special teams coordinator, but when you hear people talk about it that have been in and around football, he's not like directly working with the kicker. And I think he was even asked if you thought about bringing in a kicking specialist. And I think his response to the media was these guys have all their own kicking specialists that they work out with in the offseason. And it kind of got me thinking, like, why not? Because I understand what Carly's saying here. Like, not that Bisaccia is the problem, but like you keep bringing kickers in and it keeps struggling in Green Bay. Why not go out and try to find the Tom Clements of kickers? You know what I mean? Like find someone who is just the ultimate kicking coach. Now, the problem is most of these guys that are kicking coaches, they're working with a bunch of clients. So if you hire them to a team, it's got to be worth the bang. They got to get enough bang for their buck to turn all those clients away and work solely with the team, I would imagine. There may even be rules in place for it too, but that's something that just kind of triggered in my mind. But so it is kind of interesting that all these kickers, not only do they come in and struggle in Green Bay, but they're also pushing every kick right. That's just wild to me. It really is. Anything you guys want to add to that kicker talk there as we got it in here this evening?
No, I don't. No, yeah. I was going to say, but Rich, he's there more as like he's still the assistant head coach. He's still got all those other things that he's got to worry about. I mean, it's not like he's not worrying about, Narb or McManus or whatever, but they've already been kicking for how many years? They already have their routine down. He's not going to go in and change their footwork and mess up their 3 count, their step, it's a ritual. That thing was ingrained 10 years ago. So it's not something we're changing on the fly.
Yep. And kickers are specialists, right? I mean, you talk about kind of being on an island in that locker room. The kicker is like, it's almost like like a relief pitcher in baseball or something, right? You kind of like, don't talk to him. He's got a no hit save in the works right now. Let's not tell him anything about his technique or anything. Kickers are kind of looked like that too. And there is truth to that we even heard in McManus's interview here that you played at the top of the show, Clayton, that he was saying, hey, I worked hard to get my starting job back in Denver. I'm sure it was. I'm sure that was him putting in the hours himself, him reaching out to whoever he wants to consult with his kicking game or his kicking style and getting better at the position. So really it's kind of, being a place kicker in the NFL, it's a lot. You're kind of on your own, but you're not. It's a team sport. You're a part of a team, but I just won't go as far as to say that I think Rich Bisaccia is the reason that these guys are shanking kicks. Like I think it's just a collective of, we had a smattering of young kickers shanking kicks, and their technique is not fully developed. It's not. They're still a work in progress. We got a guy in McManus who's been kicking 10 plus years. He's kicked in huge games. He has experience. Those are less of a concern. So I think it's more on the individuals than it really is. Coach B personally. And I'm with you, Emilio. I agree with your point. We gave him the extra responsibility of being, the assistant head coach and kind of Matt LaFleur's right-hand dude out there.
And you saw how much they talk to each other on the sideline. It's like they're always conversating about it.
Yep. And, the kicking game is, I don't know, Clayton, maybe I'm off base here, but I think the attitude of most staffs in the NFL is get me a guy who doesn't miss very often, and whatever he needs to do to prepare, let him get his work in. Let's consult with our special teams unit on kickoffs and things like that. But other than that, let that guy do his own thing. It's like you almost don't want to mess with it too much or even at all sometimes. So, maybe talking to our boy Mason Crosby would be another. He'd be a good guy to get on. I know he's kind of doing his own thing these days. But I wonder what his perspective is, because he took a huge crapper in the middle of his career. And he was able to right the ship, get it back under control, and hit some massive kicks for us in those playoff games to get us some victories. So I think it's more on the kickers themselves, guys. Honestly, that's just my take on it. Not
So we call
not necessarily-
Mason in as the kicking whisperer for Green Bay, and him and McManus just get to chill on the sideline together, kick into the.
I would just
Kicking
love to
the
hear
game.
his perspective. Like, what did you do, man? Because he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn that year. What was that, 2015 or 16, Clayton, that he was just.
You talking about McManus?
I'm talking about Crosby.
Crosby.
When Mason
Oh,
Crosby was just terrible.
I'll tell you what I think fixed it. They said, you know what, bub? Let's restructure his contract. If you hit your kicks, you're going to make the same amount of money. If you don't, you're broke. And he said, you know what? I'm going to take Rich Bisaccia's advice, like Prince says. This is a famous quote by Rich Bisaccia. Kick the ball straighter. It's that simple. Just kick the ball straighter. What are we doing, guys? Stop overthinking it. I'll tell you, I know people are rough on the kickers and everything. It's your only job is to hit kicks. You better hit the ball. I'm sitting there on the couch shaking like a leaf when it's a close game. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they walk out there and kick a ball straight. I don't. I pull a straight Charlie Brown and end up on my backside is what I would do. So, anyway, Prince, dynamite drop in there, brother. Let's see. Greg Rice says we need kicker graphics since it's such an integral part of the show. We really do. Right.
And then Reef follows it up with no more kicker talk. We can score touchdowns.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly right. Let's see here, and then we'll follow it up with some more kicker talk. Holmes says it's like,
I already marked that before that one. Sorry, guys.
okay. It's like a golf or baseball swing. It's very technical and not easy. And it's the simplest approach. Like I have a baseball background, and I had a coach teach me this at a I was running with the varsity team in like 7th and 8th grade, and I'll never forget Coach Morse telling me because what I was doing was driving the ball into the ground, hitting the ball straight into the ground. He's like, listen. You come up this time, hit the bottom half of the ball. And I'm like, what's he smoking? What's he talking about? Hit the bottom half of the ball. Try to hit the bottom half of the ball. Try to miss underneath the ball. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, swinging at the bottom half of the ball, line drives every time. Some of the simplest approaches, right, is what can correct these. But again, 90% of it's here. These guys have the leg talent. It's why you turn on college football every week. And I get frustrated. I'm like, there are 75 kickers in college football that are better kickers than on the Packers roster. It's wild. It's not that they're better kickers. It's just the stress is amped up, man, and it's very much so a mental thing. I really.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, all right. That's the end of the kicker talk unless somebody else in the Patreon asks here. So we'll see. Nick McSwain says,
we'll there you go. Look, we owe Tim $10 for this much kicker talk. Oh, United Bates, you're the man.
And by the way,
man, we need to get you a bag of smart food when we see you up in Green Bay, man.
For sure. Yeah, we got to get them hooked up.
No
that
doubt,
white cheddar.
The draft is going to be awesome, man. I'm excited. So excited. I'm seeing people panic because they're like, there's nothing available. I'm like, boy, I was trying to get mine 2 years into it. As soon as they announced it, I'm like, we got to start calling around, Mandy. Got to get this done. But yeah, I'm excited to meet up with some folks in Green Bay. It's going to be good, man. But thank you for the super chat, Bates. We appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Definitely. Nick McSwain in the chat said, how exactly are plays called on defense? Do they have a play call and then adjust it every play based on what the offense does? I understand how it's done on offense, but defense seems way different. So there's a different call called in the same as offense, right? They come up, they huddle up. Here's what's crazy about how fast things move in the NFL, really in any level of football where you're trying to match personnel. So they've got assistant coaches on the sideline ready to call in the personnel. They all got the headsets on, right? So you've got a spotter for the team that's watching the other sideline. So let's say they're in 11 personnel, right? So you send out your nickel, and Jeff Halfley knows, all right, so on the radio they're going 11, 11, 11, right? 11. And most of the time your nickel personnel will stay the same for the most part. You see it every Sunday with the Packers. So what Half will do, the coaches are letting them know 11, 11. That means all your 4-2-5 guys get out on the field. Half's looking at the play sheet. He calls in the play sheet to Quay, who's wearing the green dot. He conveys that to the rest of the team, although they've still got corrections within that defense, the same as the offense does. Hey, look, if they come out in a 2-by-2 set, here's the vanilla call. If they motion over to trips, know where the call is. Are you actually changing the play, or are you just changing assignments to make sure you're matching up correctly? All that stuff happens in real time. We look at it and go, I can't believe he blew that coverage. But the honest aspect of the whole situation is it's not that simple. There's so many things they're trying to do and trying to accomplish right now. So let's say you're in nickel 4-2-5 on the field. And now all of a sudden they go 12, 12, 12, 12, right? The assistant coaches on the sideline are going 12, 12. That means the triggers are base. So they know the nickel's coming off the field, another linebacker is going out, right? Now, in some cases, the game plan may change throughout the course of the game. They might make an adjustment halfway through the first quarter. You see the defensive line coach over there talking with the backers coach. All right, listen, guys, when they go 12 from here on out, we're going to go with more of a bear look, or we're going to go – we're going to forget the extra linebacker. Let's go with kind of a big nickel approach here, right? They'll make those adjustments, and then 11, 11, 11, here's the personnel that's going out. That was the whole purpose of creating the numerical system. Rather than saying 3 wide receivers, you can say 11, a lot easier. 11 equals 3 wide receivers, 1 running back, 1 tight end. 12 equals 1 running back, 2 tight ends. That means 2 receivers, right? So that's the reason that whole thing came about, so they could communicate a lot quicker. Once you kind of understand that aspect of the defense, everything else kind of falls into place as far as what you're matching out. Back in the 90s, it was first down, send your base out, right? And it don't matter if there were 5. There was many times you could look in the 1990s where they would, especially in the early 90s, if somebody went with a 5 wide receiver set, they'd still have their base defense out there because it was first down. And then as the game evolved, then you got more of a spread approach and going 3 and 4 wide receiver sets. Now you start matching personnel, and that's
what tired of getting torched.
Right. That's why you guys heard me getting frustrated when people are going, "He's not a true Sam backer." I'm like, boys,
there's no such thing anymore.
You guys are exposing the hell out of yourself out here, acting like you know what you're talking about, because this is not 1992 where there's actually a Sam backer out there looking to play one specific role and playing on the line of scrimmage. And also potentially, it's totally different now. It's all about personnel now.
Mike and the Will got to be interchangeable.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the more recent change, right? The more recent shift is like now everybody's going, well, is he a true Will? Is he a Mike? I'm like, you guys aren't watching. Y'all ain't watching.
Look what's happening in the slot right now. We got a safety in the slot. Is he a true safety? Yep. I don't know. He can play, do a hell of a job at safety and a hell of a job in the slot. I call him a football player. Let's go.
And what we do in the offseason, rather than talk about our favorite hot dogs or the Mount Rushmores, we try to look at trends and go, okay, what's the next big trend coming up? This last year we said 3 safety looks might break out, but pistol is going to run rampant through the league. And what have we seen from the Packers? Pistol every week.
Yep.
And if you stay one step ahead, then this stuff doesn't catch you off guard, and you're not the knucklehead that's 12 years behind going, what about that Sam backer? So, and people can fan how they want to fan. It just bothers me when they talk down to people like they know what they're talking about. And I'm like, man, one guy comes to mind, and we'll keep his name off the show. But anyway, hopefully that answers your question, Nick. But I think that was a really cool question. Let's see. Fractal of God said, what's that?
We splitting the show?
Yeah, I'm tired of you telling me what to do, man. All right. For those of you listening on the pod,
no problem. Well,
those of you listening on the pod, that's the end of hour 1. We will see you on the other side for hour 2. Appreciate you. Emilio holding this thing together, man.
I'm at the seams here.
You like that response too? That's like when you're driving in the car and somebody's like, "Hey, you're missing the exit." Like, we ain't got time. We're making too good a time. We're not. We got to keep moving.
Yep.
All right. So Fractal of God said, "Doesn't the cake come from Halfley and then on the field adjustments made by X?" I just imagine Halfley sending a birthday cake out to the 50-yard line when I read that. Right? But what he's saying is, doesn't the call come from Halfley? Then the on-field adjustments are made by X. I don't think they're made by X. Typically, what you have is multiple people calling stuff out. Like, you can tell they've got their keys. If they do this or they shift to that or they break the huddle and they show a trips or a bunch set, you see everybody communicating the same thing. So it's not like there's one player going, "Hey guys, here's what we're doing." Everyone's talking though, letting each other, "Hey, you see it too, right?" Yep. I think it's more along those lines than anything else.
I would agree.
Yeah, I thought he was going to drop the doesn't the cake come from Halfley and the sprinkles come from X? That would have been a nice little segue there.
That would have been really good.
But no, I love that he has all the trust in X, and the interchange ability of the Mike and Will is huge. Even if Quay does have the dot, we can still put edge in at Mike. We can still flip flop them. Quay can go cover, and that's just we don't have to pigeonhole them. Let them just play on the defense.
Yep.
Definitely. And Bates has a great comment here. He says, excited to see how Love is catching some of those 12 men on the field, big brain awareness and the hard count, little nod of appreciation to AR-12. It goes hand in hand with what we were just talking about, subbing in and out.
Yep.
If you're in 11 personnel and offense switches to 12, 12, 12, if someone's got their head up the rear end on the sideline and they're late getting on the field, or someone is winded, gassed, and that's why you see like quarterbacks will hurry to the line all of a sudden. They'll notice somebody getting up slow off the ground, and they'll quickly switch personnel when they go to 12, and that's the guy that needs to get up off the ground. All right, now he's trying to get to the sideline. Hey, let's go. Hurry, hurry, hurry. They'll go green light, green light, green light. Let's go. Snap it.
I love it. Did you hear Jordan on the you could actually pick him up on the mic on the broadcast, and he was like, get set, get set. Like the last thing he said, get set. We don't want to get a penalty. And of course,
and that means
we're
going as soon as everybody's set, we're going on one.
We're going. Yep.
And we're throwing this thing to the goalposts.
And Bates is correct too. Like he totally got that from AR-12 all day. And it would be nice if these officials would just, call it correctly. I understand that there's a time that you blow it dead. I believe it's if there's contact, right, at the line of scrimmage. If there's not, Ron Tolbert. If it's not, it's supposed to be a free play. And we see not just the Packers, but a lot of teams and their quarterbacks pulling this move, and they're getting robbed of the free play. Exactly.
So the only thing I thought I heard Josh saying in his interview was he's got to snap it before they touch the dude. I'm pretty sure how he was saying it. So like he's got to get that snap off once they see him cross, or right. It's not unabated or whatever to the quarterback. But I think that's something he's just got to keep. I mean, at least we're getting the snap off, right? We're getting the flag. It's not so late that it's a false start on us kind of thing where they get back in time. But we just need it a little bit quicker, Josh.
And we got Aaron Rodgers to thank for the league, policing this play the way that it's now looked at, because Aaron used to just light teams up every single week with that. And it's just like the league was like, we got to do something.
It's literally a play in our play
rule a little,
Yeah. Definitely. If you guys would take a quick second, hit that like button for us. I know the channel got the algorithm cooking right now. Y'all keep it up. We really, really appreciate you taking a second there and just hitting that like button, subbing to the channel, share it, all that good stuff. Share it with your weird uncle. It don't matter. Anybody you can find. All right. But Randy Cleaver's here in the Patreon group says, how long do you think we will go with Stokes? To me, it feels like Stokes' role is being diminished already. I think what you've got with Stokes is, I think you've got a solid number 3 corner. He's definitely not a starting corner, but a guy who understands the system. And if you get kind of put in a pinch, you feel okay with, all right, he needs to go out there and fill in. But it sounds like the direction they're going is Javon Bullard and Evan Williams on the field at the same time, with Bullard playing the slot and Keyshawn playing the outside position there. I'm excited about that. I think it's something that's really coming together. I think Keyshawn's playing a little bit better every week. We got, on Chalk Talk, we showed you the third down pass breakup by Keyshawn was absolutely huge. That specific play, he was in the slot, but I felt like he kind of held his own there along the boundary as well. So as far as Stokes, though, I think his role will probably stay the same or diminish even more as we get more and more comfortable with what Keyshawn can do on the outside and what Bullard can do out of the slot as well. So hopefully that answers your question there. Damon Redwine, newest member here of the Patreon group, said, compared to how Evan Williams has looked, are you worried about Bullard's play? And if not, how long do we give him before we start to worry? Personally, I've not really been all that impressed with Bullard so far. And I think it's only the bad play from Stokes and Valentine that has kept him on the field to this point. I think that's a fair point. I do. I mean, and he shared the PFF grades here. I'm pretty sure this is by the week here. Overall defensive grade, 46.1, 78.3, 52.5, 59, 45.2, 62. Last week, obviously a pretty good rebound day. You can see he's pretty darn good in run defense.
Yeah.
He did struggle, what was that, week 4 with his tackle grade of a 30.5. His strength is run defense. Now, you guys know Keyshawn playing the slot early this year made a big impact in the run fits, like in helping stop the run. So now you're kicking Keyshawn outside because you're not happy with the way Stokes is performing. So I feel like Bullard can fill that role just as good as Keyshawn as far as the run goes. but obviously his coverage is what's a little worrisome. But again, coverage grade 39.8, 73.3, 53.0, 53.7, 38.9. And then last week he rebounded to a 60.8. According to PFF, last week was his second best performance of the year. So maybe he can stabilize that. I would be lying to you, Damon, if I said, no, I'm impressed with Javon Bullard. Now, I don't think he's been as bad as some people would lead you to believe, but he's a rookie. The thing that's making him seem a lot worse than he is Evan Williams, because Evan Williams is playing so damn good. So
I think the most astonishing to me when I look at those PFF grades is the tackle grade, because I was hype about that bulldog mentality that we have. You know, we're no stranger to these Georgia defenders on this team. And I was like, well, if there's one thing this guy can do, it's tackle. And if it's another thing that he's known for, it's that, you know, the run fit and helping us out from the back end of the secondary in these run fits. And it's like, man, his tackle grade is just plummeted every single week. And, you know, you can call it what you want. I mean, Evan Williams being a dog is got nothing to do with why Javon Bullard's not executing on tackles like he was when he started this season. So I do think it's fair to say that, hey, I'm not excited or I'm not impressed, but you're absolutely right, Clayton, to say that he's bad or, you know, this is a disappointment it's unfair. It's, you know, we're 6 games in, right? You know, rookie season. His role on this team is probably still kind of up in the air, and they're still kind of figuring out how to utilize him the best. And we got to give him time to play through these type of things. You know, the Evan Williamses of the world do not grow on trees. Guys that just come into the league and they're monsters right away. It's awesome when you get them, but you know, we can't expect that of every single rookie on this team.
Which, by the way, I heard earlier today, I think it was on the Homer Hour earlier, that Evan Williams has a brother in the league. Have you guys heard that?
I did not know that.
I didn't either. Maybe they were drunk. I don't know.
Are we going to go look up every dude with the last name Williams in the NFL and try and find out which one is Evan's brother?
I'm going to say Evan Williams' brother. Here we go. Check it out. You ready?
Here's the guy.
Safety Bennett Williams. Williams is the brother of Oregon and NFL safety Bennett Williams. So Bennett Williams, let's Google him real quick. Fire up the old Google machine. So Bennett Williams, it looks like, currently plays for is an American professional football safety for the Ottawa Red Blacks of the Canadian Football League. So he is in the Canadian League right now.
CFL.
Got it. So I thought I heard something about it earlier. I'm like, really? I didn't know he had a brother playing football too. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, as far as the overall grade though for Javon Bullard, currently he's sitting at a 53.5 defensive grade at the moment. What you want to see is that crack the 60 mark. If a rookie cracks a 60 mark, you feel real good about, all right, that's a good base for a rookie year. So we'll see how the rest of the year shakes out there. Trevor Anderson in the Patreon group says, hey, Clayton, to me, the touchdown pass to Romeo up the right side where J Love chucked it up is the same decision as he made the week before on his last touchdown in the end zone where Wicks gave up on the route. People can't be mad about one and happy with the other. I believe throwing both were the right decision, and if the wide receiver plays for the ball most of the time, worst case scenario, will be an incomplete pass. What are your thoughts? Do you agree the same decision-making went into Love throwing both of those balls? I think that's a very fair comparison. And you guys know originally I thought I didn't have a big problem with him throwing it up to Wicks the week before because you knew it was single coverage, just chuck it up there, give you guys a shot. The problem was he led him to the inside. And again, the reason he led him to the inside was because he was having to fade to his left because of the pressure. But you got to know as a quarterback, if you're going to take that shot play because they're in zero coverage, you got to be ready for that. Ball's got to come out a little bit quicker because you know there's a free runner somewhere. I don't really have an issue with either of them, to be honest with you. Now, if they're in any other coverage other than cover zero there, yes, I have a huge problem with it. You don't just shut up like that. But I understand where you're coming from there, Trevor. I think I agree with you there, man. It's easy, especially in the heat of the moment, too, when you throw an interception. When the result is an interception, you're going, why did you do that? When it's a touchdown, we're going, boy, look at that. Funny.
Look at the one to Jaden Reed. The bomb to Jaden Reed into triple coverage.
Yeah.
And LaFleur's like, no, yes. Like, What are you going to do?
It's funny you mentioned that too. Since you brought it up, we're going to go to the film room here real quick, and it's going to be a little bit hard to see. It's acting weird when I've been sharing the screen here. I don't know what's going on there, but hopefully it'll clear up. This was a 14-yard. It was 4th and 1, and this is the 14-yard pass to Christian Watson. This felt like Brett Favre right here, boys. I'm just telling you. So you'll see it'll clear up here in a second. Watch Love go over the middle. It's going to be a dig, I believe it is, by Christian. Look at all those triple coverage, bro. Look at the box cam. Look at the end zone cam right here, Emilio. This is wild, dude. If we can get it to play, let's see. Let's go end zone. Do we have it? There we go. No. Oh, that was the end zone cam. What am I talking about? Here's the sideline cam. So you see Christian on the outside on this dig. Look at all the bodies, man. On 4th down. Wild.
Layered it over 2 defenders.
Yeah.
Look at the touch though on that throw, man.
That's one where you're playing Madden and you press the wrong button, but it like still works out for you, and you're like, all right, yeah, that works.
Of course I did that.
You just kind of tapped it. You get a little floater in there right where you need it.
I meant to hit X.
Let's nerd out here for a minute and go 50%. All right.
Watch Scoot on the route too. He adds the slightest little drag at the end. Watch his feet, like he's going to clear, and then he kind of gives him. Oh, you can't see it from that angle, but he kind of gave him a little time for that ball to drop in. You know, that's all timing. I mean, you miss by a split second or a quarter inch, and that ball's tipped or picked. You know.
Yeah, definitely. And I just wanted to mention that because we were talking about the Dontayvion Wicks throw into double coverage or I'm sorry, not double coverage, just the chuck and duck play there. But this one came to mind immediately. And it's just you'll be able to see what you were talking about right here.
Yeah,
Tim.
You'll see Scoot here, like he's
kind of lags it off. Yeah.
See a little stutter step there, just to kind of like stay in time with what the defense is doing. I mean, that's chemistry between your quarterback and your receiver right there. I don't care what anybody says. That's evident on film. You can see it.
Yeah, it definitely felt like Brett, man. And again, the more that we see Jordan play, that's what it feels like. And for those of you listening that can't see this, they're in an empty set. They flex the T out, so you're basically Trey Wright. And when I say Trey Wright, I think the slot on that side might be Jacobs. I'm pretty sure, or maybe the running back's up top, right? Yeah, so he's playing boundary there. But yeah, just a really cool play. And again, Jordan Love just kind of feathering the ball in there, and he's a lot of fun to watch, man. And I guess I've just reached an age where I get it now. The people that love watching Brett play in the 90s, and they're like, man, it's just so exciting. Even when he throws a pick, like you don't know what he's going to do, right? Jordan's got a little bit of that in him. Not as much as Brett as far as playing crazy reckless,
right?
But you're going to get 2 or 3 wow plays every single week when it comes to Jordan. No doubt about it.
Just here to tell you, Pack is back.
I love it. All right.
Sorry, I should let her finish.
Heard it from a fan right here.
There it is.
All right, didn't mean to cut you off.
So safeties across the NFL. All right, here are your PFF grades for all safeties across the NFL. I think we did a minimum of 70 snaps, if I remember correctly. So Evan Williams is the highest graded safety in the entire National Football League right now. 91. Xavier McKinney is the second highest graded safety in the league at a 90.5.
Here's the guy.
Bro, like this is somewhere Joe Barry is so pissed off right now. that think about this. Last year, Darnell Savage and Jonathan Owens. And now all of a sudden you got the top highest graded safety. Emilio, how exciting is this, dude? Like this fires me up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the fact that it's not just, a tiny sample size. Obviously, Bullard's not up there, but you can't have everybody up there. So let's take what we have. He's got 150 snaps. You have Elijah Hicks in Chicago, 13th with 71 snaps. He's still on the list. So it's not a little sample, and he's proven it. And the fact that X is up there with almost 400 snaps, leading the league, I think, in snaps, leading the safeties in snaps that are at least on this list. I mean, that's big. We got consistent dudes that are playing at a high level. What I would like to see is this carry on for, another 10, 12, 15 weeks.
Yes.
We just can't peak now. That's the only thing.
Yeah, definitely. Linebackers, Tim, check this out, man. So again, we did some minimum requirements to kind of filter out some of the guys that had 12 snaps, 15 snaps, what have you. But as it sits right now, when it comes to linebackers in Green Bay, Eric Wilson is the 8th highest graded linebacker in the entire National Football League at a 79.7, 74 snaps. You got to mention that. Edgerrin Cooper now up to 125 snaps. Edgerrin Cooper is the 12th highest graded linebacker in the league at a 78.2.
Here's the guy.
You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Quay ever graded this high, right? Now he led the team in tackles. I think he tied or broke A.J. Hawk's rookie tackle record, which is it's a very honorable statistic. It is, man. It's important. But Edgerrin Cooper, man, I think we got our mock, man. I think we got our mock for the next 10 years here, Tim.
I would agree, especially with what we have on tape already. I mean, you certainly got the guy that you're going to mold into that role, right? I would think at the very least that's how they're looking at this. And Cooper looks like the type of dude that's just going to get better as he ages. Like he's going to age like a fine wine. He's just going to get better and better the more reps he gets and the more experience he has in this league. And you can kind of see it trial by fire for a lot of these rookies getting premier snaps and reps. And Evan Williams coming to mind. And also, Edgerrin Cooper now as of late, these last, 3 weeks, we've seen his snap counts go up at least, 5 to 10 to 12 reps per game. And I would assume that's going to end up with, him just taking on a starting role at some point. And then if that is your plan for him to be the Mike of the future, I think the sooner we can get him out there and comfortable in that role, the better. So he can go ahead and own that basically and continue to thrive.
Yeah, definitely. Chris in the chat says, Clayton, are you concerned about Cooper's slot frame at mock? Not at all. Not at all. Because you see how physical he plays the game. Like I don't think he's going to have an issue at all. And if anything, he's going to beef up the longer he's in the league. They're going to put a little bit of weight on him if they see it necessary. But the reality of the mock backer in the league right now, the ideal guy is kind of like that Fred Warner. Fred Warner isn't a thick dude. Fred Warner he damn sure ain't Levon Kirkland from 1996, right? Like this dude these guys are a lot leaner and they're a little more focused on pass coverage, although Fred Warner can do everything. I'm not concerned about his frame at all, man. Because isn't he like 6'2", 6'3" as well? Am I thinking right, guys?
Cooper? I believe so.
Let me see. Let me pull up his actual height and weight real quick.
I mean, it's a valid question, though. I get where Chris is coming from. I mean, I think that's really like anybody, any position group really in the NFL. If they seem a little lean, you worry about them, initiating contact or, taking contact. It can be a concern. But I just think the sheer athletic ability that Cooper has, and also you combine that with his football intelligence and the ability to learn and pick things up very quickly. That play we did in Chalk Talk where he broke off into that Tampa 2, trailing a receiver down the field, basically sealing a play for us. I don't know. I mean, you do teach that, but some guys just have a natural ability for it. And I think those are the type of skills and things that are going to carry him through maybe being a little bit leaner than, your typical middle linebacker.
Yeah, and he is 6'2", 230 pounds. So
yeah, that qualifies.
I don't see that being an issue at all. If he was under 220, I could see the point, And again, I think they may thicken him up a little bit more too, get him a couple cheese curds for sure.
Thick. Quay's in at 6'4", 241 on PFF.
Okay.
Yeah. And who was it that mentioned it in here? Coach Lynn says Cooper played mock a few times last game. He did, man. You can see it's so interchangeable with them, Jeff Hafley's defense, especially depending on how the team may or may not flex and motion and all that stuff. So I'm excited about Coop, man. And again, Eric Wilson has limited snaps, but it's nice to know Eric Wilson sitting there on the bench if you need him to play there in a pinch. I don't mean to rhyme. I do it all the time. You know what I'm saying? But Edgerrin Cooper, 78.2, run defense grade 69.6, tackle grade 69.1, pass rush grades 90.3, coverage grade 72.6. I'm just going to say it. You know what it reminds me of, boys? A young Micah Parsons. I'm just saying. Not trying to overreact, but I'm going to sit here and overreact. That's exactly what Micah did when he broke into the league. They played him as a stack backer. started rushing the quarterback, and then they realized, why don't we just throw him on the edge? I think they screwed up by doing that person. That Dallas defense is poopy now. By the way, did you guys hear Jerry Jones on the radio show?
No, I didn't. I need to listen to that pod. I'll probably listen to it tomorrow.
Get a chance, go check it out. He basically, this local radio station interviews him every week. And
they're great. They really are great.
They were. I'm telling you, it's must see TV. But they asked him some tough questions, and basically Jerry, I'm paraphrasing very heavily. Go listen to it yourself. But essentially, what Jerry told him: if you're not going to ask the questions I want you to ask, then you're not going to be here. And they laughed, and he said, "I ain't joking."
So Jerry World, man. If you didn't know, you know now.
Yeah,
it's Jerry World down there, man. It don't matter.
You know what?
Facility, local radio, down at the gas station, whatever.
If you look at the paperwork of my house, it's got my name on it. I say what I want in this house. That's what Jerry does down there too. That's how that works. So, next on the list, PFF grades. Jaden Reed is currently sitting in the number 18 spot.
Here's the guy.
Jaden Reed is a guy. 18th highest graded receiver in the entire National Football League. This is your number one wide receiver. All right. 77.7, got a receiving grade of 75.9. And here's what's crazy. Even with that high of a grade, his drop grade is 46.4. And people in his he had that fumble this last game, right? So 43 there. Even with that high of a grade, there's still room for improvement. That's just unbelievable. Emilio, how do you feel about Jaden Reed, dude? This dude, obviously he's our F. If they start to key in on him as the F, and you've seen it this last game, it really opens stuff up for Christian Watson. We kind of showed how they were kind of hammering down, even in those cover 3 looks. They were kind of cheating. Remember the play that we broke down where we said, is that a cover 3? Is it cover 1? Is it cover 0? What is this play? What you had was the deep third on the other side, slamming down, right? Trying to take away Jaden. And that's what opens things up for Christian. Now, Christian's on tape. Guess what's going to happen? Open stuff up for Jaden. But what do you think about Jaden Reed there? 18th best receiver in the league, according to PFF.
Yeah, I mean, if we can keep running that teeter-totter all the way down the season, I'm fine with it. You got one game where you're pushing downfield. You got the next game you're working underneath. You got Jaden Reed on runs. Let's get him outside. Let's use Christian this week. Let's use Romeo. I think having a guy in the top 20 is huge. It kind of, staples the offense of, okay, these guys kind of know what they're doing. And good thing for Jordan Love. Isn't he tied for most touchdowns right now as well or something? He's up there. So everything's humming, and it shows when you have people up there in the top like that. But I know we don't want to give the number one receiver. I still don't think we should, but I like how Reed carries himself. You listen to his interview. He talks like, he's a veteran. He talks like he's been there before, and he just wants to do what's best for the team, just like Christian, just like Rome, just like Bo, everybody out there. Just work. You'll get the ball, and just keep bringing those wins home.
Yeah. Here's a play that made Chalk Talk the other day. Brian Baldinger actually broke it down. So let's hear Baldy's version, a 1-minute clip of Chalk Talk for his breakdown of the touchdown pass to Jaden Reed. I'm pretty sure it's pretty cool to hear Brian Baldinger break this down. Here we go.
This is the issue for the Arizona Cardinals right now. When they rush 4, they don't get home. So guys like Jordan Love, who's excellent, he's very patient, comfortable in the pocket. He can wait for Jaden Reed to cross all the way over the formation, throw a perfect pass against pretty good coverage, not bad coverage. All right. You get a play like this play action pass. I mean, honestly, if Jordan Love has Snapchat, he has time to check his Snapchat here. Like, there's nobody getting close. Like, this is an eternity to be able to stand there this long and be able to then make this read.
By the way, I don't mean to interrupt here, Baldy. I apologize. But look at Sean Ryan at right guard. That is Sean Ryan, right?
Yeah, at right guard.
Watch him right here. So this is when Josh Myers was still in the game before he had to kick over to left guard when Josh Myers left.
Honestly, if Jordan Love has Snapchat, he has time to check his Snapchat here. Like, there's nobody getting close. Like, this is an eternity to be able to stand there this long and be able to then make this read. Like, it's impossible to cover that long. So then Nick Rales has this decision to make. Well, if I just rush 4 or if I rush 3, Jordan Love's just going to stand there and wait till somebody breaks free. So now I'll bring Mac Wilson. All right, now you gut punch him here with this screen. It's damn if you do, and damn if you
Look out here on the perimeter. Notice anything?
punch him here with this screen. It's damn
Get Jaden Reed out there throwing that block.
Yep.
if you do, and damn if you don't. And Wilson,
And, of course, Josh Myers. I got to point it out. Watch Josh Myers on this. I got to mute him for a minute. Oh, watch Josh. Look at that big guy. Look how he's moving. Like, oh, he's going to kill somebody. Watch this. Nah. What are we doing? You did the hard part, Josh. You kill the hard part every time. I just don't. Anyway, back to Baldy. I apologize.
that's the problem right now in Arizona. Green Bay has all the answers when you give Jordan Love time.
Very well said, Baldy. Very well said. So I thought it was cool. He showed that nice little feathered drag over to Jaden Reed. And got a lot to look forward to when it comes to the Packers, man. No doubt about it. Now, we talked about the protection just now on that specific play where Baldy was breaking down, right? Check this out. We go to offensive tackles across the entire National Football League. Now, I did not filter out the small snaps, so just take Trent Scott there, only 8 snaps, I think it is. You take him out of the fold. Doesn't even matter. Zach Tom's still ahead of him. Zach Tom is the 9th highest graded tackle in the entire league at an 84.7. Run blocking grade, 86.3. Pass blocking grade, 81.6. Listen, everything that Baldy talked about there, and we're going to get into breaking down the Texans as we get a little later in the week, but everything you talk about him given time, the Houston Texans have a much better pass rush. Will Anderson, and do they have Daniil Hunter? Am I thinking right, Emilio? Yeah. So you got 2 of the better edge rushers in the league, but we've got Rasheed Walker and we got Zach Tom, right? You feel pretty good about them being able to hold up in that matchup. And if you need to give Sheed a little bit of help, you can do that with some chipping and things like that. But Zach Tom here, 9th highest graded tackle in the league, is just wild, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and like you said, we need to anchor the 2 corners of that wall that we're building in front of Jay Love. We'll get the tackles settled. We got Zach Tom holding it down. If you take him out of 400 snaps, he's the top 3 in the league. You know what I mean? So he's been consistent over an extended period of time. And Josh, yeah, we'll work on it. If he can get the snap off quicker and we can get some free plays, I'd be fine with what he put out last week, right? It's working. It's not anything that we need to go and sign a center. You know, it's nothing like that. And it worked fine when he left. So I really am happy with where they're at and that they are all, interchangeable. And we can just keep moving forward even when we hit a speed bump.
Yeah, definitely. Tim, Zach Tom about to get paid, man.
Yeah, get the Brinks truck, gas it up, park it in his driveway. He deserves every cent.
He really does, man.
And he you can't forget the guy can play anywhere on that line. So you've got, a starting right tackle who in a pinch can be your, second to third or fourth option at any other position, depending on how the season shapes out. So the versatility can't be overlooked. We talk about that play that we had in Chalk Talk and that Baldy just broke down that first tutter to Jaden Reed. And we, for what we saw from Sean Ryan, which was great blocking at the right guard position, we also saw Zach Tom temporarily leave his assignment, give a little chip help to Sean Ryan. Once Sean Ryan had it back under control, Zach Tom resumed blocking the other guy he was blocking. I mean, it's just, the guy's a freak of nature. He makes everybody around him better, and that's the type of guy you want on your O-line for sure.
Yeah. And you've heard us talking for a few weeks now how Sean Ryan seems to be kind of cutting the corner. It's like, man, he plays – it seems like he'll have, a game or two where he plays really well, and he'll have a setback, and then a game or two that he plays really well. And in the past, it was 5 bad games, 1 good game, right? So you could really see him cutting the corner. Check this out. Sorting every offensive guard in the league, minimum of 100 snaps, Sean Ryan is ranked 30th in the league right now. So he is officially considered a number 1 guard. Now, I want to mention Elton Jenkins is 46th. All right, Elton Jenkins is a 62.9. Now, I'm not saying Sean Ryan's a better offensive lineman than Elton Jenkins. According to PFF, Sean Ryan is playing better football than Elton Jenkins this year. Again, you're not going to get me to bet the farm that Sean Ryan's a better old lineman than Elton. But, man, Sean Ryan's making a case for might want to put Jordan Morgan somewhere else, but we're playing some pretty damn good football over here at right guard. It's exciting. And the fact that they kicked Sean Ryan to left guard when they had to bring Jordan Morgan in at right guard tells me they trust Sean Ryan more than they trust Jordan Morgan, because Jordan Morgan played left tackle his entire football life.
Yeah.
High school, college, everything. That really, sometimes it's not so much what we see on the field or what the grades show as it is what the coaches are doing, putting these guys in a position. See Corey Ballantyne.
Yep.
Played good last year. Halfley don't want him on the field. That trumps anything I think I may or may not have seen last year on the tape, right? Coaches know a lot more than us, obviously. But Sean Ryan, man, you got to give credit. And earlier in the year, you remember Coach LaFleur called him out over his conditioning.
Yep.
And then they asked Matt about it. Matt said, hey, one thing I love about Sean, you correct him. He goes and corrects it. He fixes it. He doesn't take anything personal. Pretty cool, man.
He didn't get butthurt over it. I mean, it's a game, you know, you need to get corrected. All right, I'm corrected. Cool. But you're right. He said that in his interview. I want to be able to be flexible or be the best at any position I play, and whether that be good left guard, right guard, or center. And, yeah, have the trust in him to be able to flip his hips. Have Jordan Morgan, who hasn't gotten a lot of reps, who missed a lot of time, who's still injured. All he did through the offseason was play right guard. You know what I mean? So it's let him just keep doing that and get good at one thing before we try to flip them all around.
I agree. And if you're going to try and get someone to play left or right side, whatever, at the guard position, it probably should be Sean Ryan, the guy who's been here a few years already, not our rookie guy who played tackle at Arizona for his collegiate career. And, you know, by the way, now you're a guard in the NFL and, you know, go do it right. It's like we got to be patient when it comes to that, right? And I think
swing guard.
I think so. I'm a little less impressed with him on the left side compared to how he's been playing at the right side. But hey, going up against D'Amico Ryan's defense this weekend, if he is in fact at left guard, you know, let's say Elton Jenkins has to play center or something, you know, it'll be a good test to see if he can really handle it there, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I screwed the pooch there in hour one. So Emilio, if you got to go, you just hop off. You need
you're good. No, I was making sure you were squared.
Yeah. No, I know we're going to go a few minutes. So I'm probably going to go hour 30 here tonight. We got a couple more things I want to show. So if you guys got to go, just bounce off. So we were kind of talking offensive line play there at the end. We mentioned Josh Jacobs earlier today. I think we broke down this play. I think this is the 14-yarder. It might be the stretch play. I could be wrong. But here's Brian Baldinger breaking down this play out of the pistol. Remember, we kept mentioning pistol all offseason. He says, out of the pistol formation, Josh Jacobs runs to the fewer numbers, smart football, and his contact balance is second to none. All right, so here we go. Brian Baldinger breaking it down. And I want to point out on this play here, if you'll see, that's Jordan Morgan playing right guard on this play. All right, so this was some of the rotational snaps we talked about. So you got Elton at left guard, Josh Myers at center, and Jordan Morgan. Now, Jordan Morgan has not been grading out well at all, according to PFF. Let's watch him on this specific clip here as Baldy.
They walk him on this one.
Let's see it.
Let's learn something about the run game. The Packers are in a pistol formation with Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs. Why? Well, it bounces up the defense because they can go equally to the right where there's 4 defenders or equally to the left where there's only 3 defenders. This player right here is a tight end. So run to the fewer numbers. It's just that simple. So you get a great double right here.
What do we call that? Hat count, right?
Hat count and the pistol gives you the 2-way go. That's so huge.
We call that thug life.
Morgan and Zach Tom. All right, going to lift this defensive tackle right into the lap of Mac Wilson. All right, now watch Josh Jacobs do the rest.
Yep.
I mean, Josh Jacobs right here runs through this. Here comes both safeties, Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson. They're really good players. He runs through right through the both of them. I mean, that's called contact balance. He picks them up and he puts them down. And it takes defensive linemen in pursuit to actually tackle him. Josh Jacobs is a hell of a player. But the pistol formation bounces the Cardinals up. You run to the numbers, the fewer numbers. Smart play.
Oh, I love it, dude.
Clayton, can you run that back one time?
Yeah, man.
You see, you got to say it, man. Josh Myers blocked the guy into Josh Jacobs.
Oh, for real.
So look at the sheer ability.
Damn it, Tim, why do you got to do this?
You talk about how great Josh Jacobs is. I mean, the guy blocking for him blocked the defender into him, and Jacobs like brushed it off like a swatting at a fly. It was pretty cool. Watch 71 on this play. He blocked really well for 90% of this play, and then he just got turned around.
Yeah, so he gets to the backer. Not great hands
And
there.
look where he turns him inside. Look, here you go, Josh.
Yeah, lucky he didn't get called for blocking the back, too.
Yeah, exactly. But
to be honest with you. And again, this play was that 26 stretch, wasn't it, Emilio? Am I thinking right?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is 26 stretch. So, again, the numbers are even to the right. So if they were running in the A gap, it'd be a 2. First of all, the first number is the halfback, so that's 2. So if you're going to A gap, it'd be 22, B gap 24, C gap 26. They're going C gap as the aiming point, and he cuts back to the B gap. So this was 26 stretch, which is outside zone, and he's going to use the cutback because that backer gets too aggressive there on the outside. We won't play it with the audio this time, but we'll just kind of roll it up as we.
And what's nice about the Pistols, it still gives Jay Love a chance to flip the play. I mean, one call, that thing's flipped, and we're going to the other side with numbers. It could have been a stretch left, and he flipped it last second,
Could have been, yeah. That's a good eye there, though, Tim, what you said about Josh, man. I hate to pick on him, but that's just – it's bad, man. It's bad. And, again, Jacob's still getting the yards after contact. It's just wild, man.
That's where you said Romeo's just like, oh, man, you're still up? Okay, hold on.
Yeah, Romeo, that's – you know what that looked like is the old rodeo days, going to a rodeo and seeing somebody get hung up in the stall with the bull. He's in there like, what in the hell am I – how did I end up in here? Not a good look, bro. Not a good look. Dennis Shook with the super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. Says, can you guys create an all-Packer, all-star offensive line by position from 1990 to the present? Best we've had at each spot. Boy, that'd be fun. We don't have time to do it tonight.
I got my first entry. Brian Balaga.
Hey, let's do it rapid fire. Seriously, rapid fire. Rapid fire. Can you do it, Emilio? Do you think you can handle it too?
Emilio wasn't even alive in 1990.
I'll try.
I'm gonna take the first pick. Okay. Well, actually, Tim, you go first. Okay. Well, no. Since Emilio wasn't born until 2006, Emilio, you go first. Okay. What your favorite offensive lineman since you've been a Packer fan?
I'd have to go with Bach.
Bach. Okay, so you're going Bach left tackle.
Bach.
Yeah, he can.
All right, so you're going Bach left tackle. All right, Tim, what's your choice?
So I got to pick are we going left to right on the line, or
you don't have to go left or right. You could pick anything other than left tackle.
Oh man, Frank Winters, center. Let's go, Frankie boy.
Frank Winters at center. There's some low hanging fruit here. I want to go like Mark Tauscher at right tackle, but I'm going to go with a name you guys may not have heard of. All right. I'm going to go with Marco Rivera at right guard.
Here's the guy.
Bro, Marco Rivera in the early 2000s, a guy, I think he played in NFL Europe and then came over. Just an absolute stud. So I'm going Marco Rivera, right guard. All right, so what's left is left guard and right tackle. Emilio, you got another one, man?
Did Bulaga play left guard or right guard?
He played right tackle.
Oh, all right, we'll put him at right tackle. I'll put Bulaga out there. I liked him playing.
All right, I got it. So the only thing left's left guard, Tim. You got anything? What you got there, man? Who was left guard in the 90s? Think about it.
Oh man,
it's tough.
I'm going.
I've got one if you want me to.
That is tough. See, that's what I'm saying. I barely remember the lines from 2010.
This was going to be.
I was going to say TJ Lang. I like TJ Lang, but was he a right guard or a left guard?
That's a great. I think he rotated. I think there was time he's played both, but I think he was more of a left guard if I remember right. This was going to be my pick. Fred McFarley said Mike Wall.
There you go.
Oh, look at this one. Hold up a minute. Cheesehead Murph. Josh Sitton. Josh Sitton was
Sitton, Lang, and Balaga. Like, do we
just give us a rotation?
Yeah.
Are we going to go number 1s and 2s on a depth chart across? Because we could do this.
No, we got to wrap this thing up. Mandy's closer than she needs to be. When she gets here, the dogs are going to go crazy. And I know that because we got this app. I don't know if you guys have got it, Life 360, where you got like GPS on each other. It's showing her in a rocket ship right now doing 92 on the internet. It's showing a rocket behind her car. Yeah, I think she must be watching the show. She went from 92 down to 80. She's watching the show. 78, 7.
Watching. Yeah, no, she's watching.
Now it's just a normal car. Caught you, girl. Got you. So that's it. Left guard. Who did you go with, Tim? Did you come up with one? Who'd you decide on left guard?
I had said Lang, but we kind of figured he's a swing. But Mike Wall too. Mike played on. He was more right side, right?
Mike Wall was left guard.
He was left. Okay. So then we got to go with him. We got to go with Mikey.
They would run that power right with him, and he was the lead blocker for Amon Green. Boy, you talking about leaving a damn crime scene behind him. Mike Wall would hit that B gap, and it was like, get out of my way. Another thing, too, I was watching the Brett Favre game when his dad passed away. I was watching it back the other day, and there was a play when he hit Javon Walker for the jump ball in like double or triple coverage. You guys remember that play? Go back and watch it. They ran a sprint right play, and Mike Wall sprinted at the snap all the way across and became like a personal protector of Brett. It was the coolest thing ever. Like, I don't even know how he got that far over. Go back and watch that play. You'll know what I'm talking about. So there you go. That's it. Hopefully that answered your question there. Who was it again? Was it Dennis? Great question, Dennis. I like that type of stuff too, man. I really do.
I like how we just freestyled it right off the dome.
The awesome. Yeah. We'll do that again soon. I'll hit you guys one random. Like, all right, guys, since 1990, let's pick our corners. You know what I mean? That's fun.
Scott Wells, honorable mention.
Yeah. Dude, I was going to say Scott. Corey Lindsey.
And here,
another good one. Another guy who started off real shaky. We were really worried about Corey Lindsey for a while, and then dude just became a freaking stud. So, salute to Corey for sure.
If you hear Mark Tauscher talk about Scott Wells, he got cut. Do you guys know Scott Wells got cut? Like they said he got cut, if I understood him correctly, and moved to the practice squad. And Tauscher was like, that dude was so pissed. And literally that year he won his job back. And obviously he anchors our offensive line when we win the Super Bowl in 2010. I got to meet him, got his autograph. Really cool dude. As we walked up to the table, I'm not even really paying attention. I walked up, it was him and Greg Jennings. Greg signed something. And I just happened to glance over, and me and Scott's got the same accent. You guys ever heard him talk? He's from Tennessee. I think he's from Nashville. And he said,
Wales, Tennessee.
He looked at me, he said, come over here, Smiley. That's what he called me, was Smiley. I was grinning. That was my first time going to Green Bay. So I was just like a possum in a dumpster, Jacob.
That is a possum in a dumpster.
That's exactly right. Anything else, fellas? Appreciate y'all letting us go over here, man.
No, this was great. Shout out to Dennis for that last super chat. That was awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Emilio, you good, bub?
I'm good.
All right, man. Thank y'all for hanging out. This was fun, dude. So,
appreciate it.
Special shout out to United Bates for the super chat. And like I said, Dennis Shook for the super chat as well. You guys are awesome. Also, special shout out to Damon Redwine, the newest member of our Patreon group. If you want to join our Patreon group, you can scan the QR code in the upper right. That'll send you to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access, or just search all that on the Patreon website. If you're one of 3 tiers, you'll be entered into the contest where we're going to do giveaways throughout the year. And also, we got some really cool chats set up there. We got chats for questions for the show. We got Chalk Talk questions where you can ask questions in there about Chalk Talk segments. We also just got a general chat where everybody just gets in there and kind of chops it up. We got for our fantasy league, we got a group or a section in there where you can talk about fantasy football, stuff like that. It's growing. It's first year we've done it. It's absolutely wild. We're about to crack 100 people that are members already. It's a really cool growing community. So I'm excited to do even more with that here in the near future. And who knows, man, maybe we can do like Patreon watch parties. We can do Patreon meet and greets, stuff like that. Like for the draft, I think that would be awesome. Anybody who's a member in the Patreon group, you'll be invited to a special meetup somewhere. My problem is, man, I love everybody who watches the show, so it'd be hard for me to cut anyone out. I'd probably be like, everybody.
We'll end up with 200 people at our gathering.
Everybody show up. Honorable mention. Come on in. Let's have a good time. So it's going to be good, man. I'm excited about the draft. So with that being said, help me out here, Tim.
For those of you listening on the pod,
thank you for making us a part of your day. Don't be like this guy, all right? Don't be that guy, okay?
Stay off the damn weed.
Don't stay off the weed. This guy is going to show up at your house. All right. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack.